3:30. CBS. No.
No, I'm kidding. We don't need to talk about that game. Let's get into it. Bama, Tennessee.
Yep. Bama currently 8.5-point favorite.
Down from 9.5 already.
Yep. Number 11, Alabama. Number 17, Tennessee. I'm going to let you go off on your tangent on the game. I'm starting. I know, I'm starting. I'm just going to let you go off after I do my thing. I don't trust Joe Milton at all. This is like the definition of a revenge game. Both defenses have been good, but Bama's has been better. I actually think all told, I mean, I know Tennessee's averaging more points per game. I think Bama's actually got the better offense this year, weirdly enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I just trust Bama's defense more here. I think they have the ability to keep Tennessee off the field better and sustain long drives. Success rate against Bama's defense is like 32%. So Tennessee's not going to be able to sustain drives. And they haven't really been explosive this year. They were super explosive last year, obviously, but not this year. And Bama actually has the more explosive offense as well. So I think all that, plus it's at home, plus it's a revenge game. I like Bama big here, 31-20.
Tyler. I have been looking at this game with a giant fucking circle around it since last year. Last year in Knoxville, I tried to pretend that I wasn't bothered by the 17 penalties and the way they lost. Tip of the cap to Tennessee for winning that football game because they deserved to win that game. I will say it was very frustrating looking back at that game and thinking how awful Bama played, how awful the start was. They were down 28-10 in the first half. Several turnovers, like multiple missed kicks, missed field goals, some questionable play calling. 17 penalties. 17 penalties. It is one of the 3 different games in Bama's last 6 true road games where they have been flagged 10 more times than their opponent. And it was ridiculous. Tennessee was actually the highest penalized team in the country, or in the SEC last year, and were limited to 6 flags for 39 yards that game, miraculously. If this game was being played last week, my confidence would be way higher. And not just because of Bama, having to eke one out awkwardly against Arkansas. But after watching Tennessee and their game against A&M, the way it's not the fact they won that game, right? A&M's lost 3 starters in the front 7 during that game. They were playing a backup quarterback. Tennessee was favored, and they're at home. It's the way they won it and the way they chose to win that game, which was we're going to run the football. And I don't think it was necessarily a choice like we're going to be more physical than them. It's like you have to, because Joe Milton is not going to win you a football game. He's just not. He's not going to win you a football game. He can make big plays. He can throw it a mile, and he can still be a good quarterback in this league at times. But he's not going to go win you a football game. I just last week against A&M on a little rollout to his left is the first time in his career he ever has thrown a touchdown on the run in his entire career. That's, again, at home. They chose to run the football. They ran it right down A&M's throat. And if there's one strength of this A&M team, it's stopping the run and being physical up front. And they got bullied. They flat out got bullied. Tennessee is second. This is what concerns me about the Bama part, because I want to sit here and look at it and be like, they're at home. It's a revenge game. They got to be fired up. Milrose played a lot better than people give him credit for. The comparison between these 2 quarterbacks, there's even question who has the edge, is crazy to me, because Milrose has been far better than Joe Milton. But where I think Bama has struggled the most has nothing to do with quarterback. It has everything to do with the offensive line. They've given up 30 sacks this season. They've given up at least 4 in every game in the last 6, which is the first time in 20 years that's happened. The offensive line has been really, really bad. They don't, even at home, pre-snap penalties. You shoot yourself in the foot a bunch. But they have not been physical enough to move people up front and run the football effectively. And in this game, I think you're going to have to, because Tennessee has nothing to lose, and they're going to try to harass Milroe. And even with how successful he's been, it's still terrifying sometimes, the decision-making he has of where to throw a football. So he has to continue to limit turnovers. They have to win the turnover battle in this game to beat Tennessee. But I just keep looking at Tennessee's defense, man. Second in the SEC in sacks per game, number 2 in tackles for loss. They're 4th in passes defended. They're 4th in third down conversions. Bama has been like horribly long in third downs this year. Like the average distance is over like 8.8 yards per attempt, and all that too. Tennessee also is I think top 2 or 3 in the SEC in limiting big plays on defense. I think that it's going to be a struggle for Bama for most of this game to score points. I want to pick Tennessee because I actually am very worried about the matchup there because of what their defense can do, and I think Bama's going to turn the ball over probably twice. But the homer in me is going to tell you that for 16 fucking years, Nick Saban owned these people and beat them by an average of 26 points per game. And I think that the Arkansas win, because it wasn't a loss, was uncomfortable and not great and not dominant and all that stuff. But I told you all week that there was not a more perfect example for a quintessential trap game than that game last week. They were up for most of the game and dominating Arkansas, and then they had a rough 10 or so minutes. Bama's defense is legit. Bama's defense is for real. And Jalen Milroe is better than people think. And Tennessee showed their fucking ass all year last year after this win. They made a fucking book, Tyler. They made a commemorative book on the season after this game, and it was October 15th.
Yikes.
I'm gonna be that guy, and I'm just gonna say this. Instead of breaking down the game of why Bama wins it, I'll just give you a quote from Tombstone. It's not revenge that we're after. It's a motherfucking reckoning. And I think Alabama comes out. It is going to be awful and miserable and ugly for 3.5 to 4 hours. But I think Bama wins. I got Bama 20-17.
All-time classic there.
I hope not.